Hello, and welcome to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast, where we deep dive into the wisdom of natural healing, vibrant health, and hormonal balance. I'm Eli Huang, your guide to this journey to optimal well-being in mind, body, and spirit. Today, we're talking about the most transformative experiences in a woman's life, birthing, but not just any birth, an empowered, intuitive, and natural birth experience. So if you've ever wondered how to trust your body, harness your hormones, and step into your birthing power, you're in the right place. We'll explore the mindset, preparations, and holistic tools that help to support a smooth, powerful, and deeply connected birth experience. So whether you're an expecting mother, a birth worker, or simply passionate about natural health, this episode is for you. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast. Today, I'm super excited to have Philippa Cox, who is a globally experienced midwife, pregnancy coach, and advocate for empowered birthing. With over 20 years of experience supporting women across diverse settings, from the dust of Outback Australia to Yemen, Pakistan, and refugee camps in Ethiopia, she has helped thousands of women navigate pregnancy, birth, and transition to motherhood with confidence and resilience. Drawing from her expertise in midwifery, bodywork modalities, and coaching, Philippa created the Pathway to Radiant Motherhood, a transformative program designed to help women optimize their health, eliminate fear, and step into motherhood with strength, confidence, and grace. She's also the founder of Radiant Pregnancy and Motherhood Collective, an online community dedicated to fostering connection and support among women worldwide. Philippa is passionate about shifting the narrative around birthing, challenging the over-medicalization of pregnancy, and champion holistic, intuitive approaches to childbirthing. Her work is rooted in evidence-based practice, personal reflection, and a deep understanding of the emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of motherhood. Welcome, Philippa.
Hello, Ellie. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness, I love everything that you do around the entire sort of holistic outlook on pregnancy and birth. So tell me, share a little bit about your background and what led you to become sort of a midwife and working in such remote places like refugee camps in Ethiopia. I'd love to hear your personal story.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. It was actually quite an interesting story. I was traveling around the world for about 10 years trying to find out what I wanted to do. And it was through my travels through Africa that it hit me that I want to actually do humanitarian work. And then when some travelers got sick and we found out that there was limited access to care and medicines in Africa, that's when it hit me like a light bulb. I'm going to be a nurse. And my very first witness of a birth was in Papua New Guinea when I had the privilege of being there as a student nurse. And it was the most incredible thing I had ever experienced. It was like a light bulb of spirituality just came into this world. And I knew then that I was going to be a midwife. So it was just incredible. So I kept on, I've had this incredible adventurous spirit. So all through my career, I kept on thinking, I've got to return to Africa. I have to return to Africa. So I did all my studies. I've did a lot of study actually, and worked in Outback Australia to get the, not only to help Aboriginal people and on community, but also to develop the skills necessary for humanitarian work. And then off I went and I joined Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders. And I went to Yemen, which is incredible, Pakistan and Ethiopia. And I've also had other work around the world in Abu Dhabi as well. That was really incredible. So my experience is unlike many other midwives because I've seen a vast range of normal.
And I mean, like that, and being in those remote places, I mean, it's nothing like the Western countries. I mean, what is that environment like to give birth? I mean, what are their hospitals like? You know, they're obviously not first world countries. I'd love to hear about what those sort of environments were like and how that differentiates from being in Australia.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is these countries are in developing, they're developing. So quite often people are impoverished. Quite often people are malnourished. Their health isn't as good as what we have in the West. So what happens generally in countries like that? They birth at home. So they've got this beautiful sisterhood around them. They're
The
someone from the
tribe, they're part of the
community,
tribe.
yes, and they birth
Yeah.
at home, and that is sensational. They come to the hospital when there are complications. So
Mm.
when I was working in Yemen and in Pakistan, 60 to 70% of people that would come had complications. Now, the interesting thing is a lot of these complications were in the Western world preventable. And a lot of complications that came that we thought, oh dear, it is absolutely dire. Women and babies survived, like eclampsia. I saw so many people, women coming in with eclampsia. It was almost routine to deal with them, at least one or
Mm.
two a week.
So I guess in those countries, how does nutrition and lifestyle impact obviously the pregnancy outcomes? Because are they malnourished? Did they not get the right medical advice? And obviously they didn't see people like here, we get checkups every month, right? And we've got a whole team of medicals that, you've got your monthly checkups. What was their sort of pre-pregnancy plans and things like
There
over
are no
there?
pre-pregnancy plans.
Yeah. I
It's
mean, yeah.
all up to nature. It's all up to God. It's all up to whoever you believe. And the thing
Mm.
is, in developing countries, a lot of services, a lot of medicines, women have to pay for. So antenatal care, a lot of times women have to pay for it, or the medicines, women have to pay for it. There's cases that, not with Medicine Sans Frontières, because that's why we're there, because we provide all this free healthcare and increase the skills of the local population. I heard stories of women dying in an eclamptic fit, and there's nothing that they could have done because there's no medicines, because people have to go across to the pharmacy to buy the medicines. And if they don't have the money, there's nothing people can do. And this is the reality of the world. So
Mm.
in Western civilization, in Western world, we have got it. We're on the gravy train. And the thing is, we don't realize we're on the gravy train.
Well, not when you're comparing and you've seen both
No,
sides, right? And it's just even like there might not be a lot of midwives and doulas, and it's only, like you said, maybe the women in the family who are not really medically trained. Like that's all they've got sort of to impart wisdom or to help them with the birthing. There's not much that they do in the 9 months prior, right? It's like get pregnant. And then the next time they see anybody or have someone help them is in the birth process, right?
yeah, but it's also when women are going through pregnancy, because they've got tighter communities than we have in the West, because they have to have a tight community, because that's how they survive. That's how they get their love. That's how they get
Mm.
their connection. That's how they get needs met.
Also how we're supposed to raise children. I mean, really, we should be raising, like it takes a tribe to raise a child, basically. And they have that. They've got different things that they've got that we don't have, and vice versa, right? They might not have the medical care, but they've got that support, which is actually the hardest thing. We'll go into that in a little bit. But the hardest thing is when you give birth, they have that care and they learn from experience that like all the information they have has been passed down through the generations, right? Even if it's not medical
Absolutely.
care, they know a lot more
Absolutely.
about nature and nutrition than even a lot of people in the West. Would you agree?
Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. And particularly in a lot of countries, it is so traditional for women to be in a bed for the next 42 days. And they are pampered beyond belief.
Oh, yeah. It's done in a lot of
Because
in a lot of societies, even Asian culture. When you give birth, you're supposed to go into confinement for 6 weeks. You don't leave. You've got a whole tribe of people looking after you, or you've got people bringing you food. All you do is breastfeed and sleep.
yeah, because in the West, we don't realize that it takes a long time to recover from a birth. It doesn't take a couple of
Oh, no,
days.
people
Even
out
if you've
that.
had the most beautiful, lovely birth and you feel fantastic afterwards, it still takes at least 6 weeks to fully recover from the
Most
birth.
people are out the next day. A couple of days later, I've had clients go, I can't stay home. I'm going to, take the baby out in a few days.
And this is
That's what
where
they're thinking.
that 6 weeks afterwards, it is sacred.
Yes. We'll
And
talk
it is
about that.
when you get to know your
Uh,
baby.
uh, yeah. Yeah.
And night and day well, there is no night and day. It's all one great big 24 hours. And your
So I
whole
guess from
mind has to change to
So I
accommodate
guess
it.
from your experience, what are some of the most common pregnancy complications? We could talk about what you saw in third world countries as well as here. And really, how can some simple things be prevented or minimized in your experience?
Ellie, I love this. Okay. In developing countries, number one is preterm births.
Mm-hmm.
Massive,
Yeah.
massive.
What is classified as preterm in your definition? Is it before 37 weeks?
Yeah,
Is it like even
yeah,
earlier?
yeah, 37 weeks. In today's society in the Western world, we are saving babies so young now, and they are just growing up
22
so
weeks,
good.
even from 22 weeks, it's possible.
Yeah, even less than 500 grams. I mean, the science behind this is just mind blowing.
Right.
But
Whereas in
I've
third
got
world countries, it wouldn't be possible in a lot of them.
no,
Do they have not yet, probably not as many ICUs and stuff to help
no,
babies
no.
that are 22 weeks?
But I'll tell you a little story. Can I tell you a little story?
Oh, of course. I'm sure people would love to hear a story. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was in Yemen, and there was someone that came in and she birthed a baby that I estimated was 24 weeks. My hand came up to about there in my hand. Okay,
Piece
so
of
we were,
steak, like a piece of steak.
yeah, so I think weighed about 700 grams.
Yeah.
Okay, and we were expecting this baby to die, so we put her just in. She had a bra top on with those sports bras.
Yeah,
Yep.
right.
And we put the baby in there, and we fully expected the baby to, to die. Didn't die.
I had the contact with the mom really close to the heart, the
She was
love.
feeding that baby colostrum just drip by drip by drip. She would just coat her, in the beginning, she would just coat her little finger, I think it was this little finger, with colostrum and just put it in the baby's mouth, and it would just absorb it. We did put a drip in the arm, I think. I can't really remember that, to be quite honest with you. I'd have to have a look. But it survived, and baby came back 6 months later, the most beautiful baby girl on her hip.
Wow.
She came back for that when she was giving the 6-week immunizations, and she came back and showed us the
Mm,
baby. And she was with
wow.
us for a couple of weeks, and the baby survived. And that was without an echo. That was
Wow.
with mother's love,
Yeah.
heat, all that energy, all that
And just feeling
beautiful
not
stuff.
stressing out and just being present and just, taking it as it comes and just doing what you can with what you've
Yeah,
got.
exactly, exactly. It's
Oh,
awesome.
wow. Yeah. What other sort of pregnancy complications did you see? And really, how can we prevent it, whether it's in the West or here? What are some of the things that we can do in this prenatal care time? Well, like you said, like obviously reducing preterm births, but how does it get to that preterm birth? Like, why are people having such early births? Like, I've got clients and I've heard of friends who've had babies like earlier than 35 weeks. Like, what causes that? Is it the stress? Obviously, it's different medical complications and health issues, but
Yeah,
what do we do to really be healthy, right? Leading up to that preterm birth
yeah,
or
that
full
is
term, we want full
huge.
term birth, right? And we don't want, we're going to C-sections and all that, but we want healthy babies after 38 weeks.
Yes, and this is a major government directive as well to reduce
Mm.
preterm birth and stillbirth. Okay, number one is the state of health. It in a
Yes,
nutshell, and that
we know that.
includes your nutrition,
Is that what you saw in Africa and some of the undeveloped countries where they're just
big time.
malnourished and that was why it caused a lot of
Yeah,
complications?
yeah,
What were some of the things that you saw that contributed to malnourishment? Were they not getting enough certain essential vitamins, minerals? Because you think with that sort of environment, they were eating at least healthy produce, or was the produce not as healthy, but they were just malnourished with the food, the
it
quantity?
depends. It depends
Right.
where you are. It depends where you are. In some places, it was access to food, particularly
Okay.
in this country on community. You're out in the middle of the desert. Food is A, highly expensive, and B, a lot of it is canned and junk food.
Because you would just eat what you can buy or what's in your backyard or what you're
Yeah.
growing in some of
And
these
so,
farm communities, right?
yeah, so community is its own separate entity in Australia, and it's massive, and that's another podcast. That's another book. It's huge. And access to food is number one. That's number one in these countries, particularly in the refugee camp. People were just living on sorghum. That was their ration: sorghum oil and salt. And so we used to give them high caloric supplements called plumpinut. So at least they had their thing. So you've got preterm birth is a big one. Stillbirth, of course, is huge.
What can we
You've
do
got
is stillbirth, can that be prevented?
through health, through antenatal care.
Yeah.
But it's the health, it's the health, it's the
Because
health.
right, it's more common in people that are smoking or unhealthy
Yeah,
babies, or they could just have the cord wrapped around, like, is the baby just moving and the cord is just perhaps wrapped around the neck as such, and it was not seen until they're in delivery?
yeah, but a lot of stillbirths aren't explained.
Yeah.
I've forgotten what the exact statistic is, but they're not explained. And this
Yeah,
is
I've
with
had
the
a few.
level of forensic
Mm,
inquiry that we
mm.
have in today's Western world.
Yeah.
So I think there's something deeper than that that I'm not going to broach.
Yeah. So nutrition's a big one. So getting the right
Nutrition's,
nutrition.
yeah, and also
What about movement and
disease.
exercise, right? Movement, yeah, exercise, movement, disease, other things that can influence pregnancy and birth outcomes, right? Like not move
Yeah,
is exercise, moving.
movement is so necessary, and in the West. We're living in such a sedentary lifestyle. I mean, we
Do
sit
they
for
move
most of
more
the
in
day.
some of the
Yep,
third world countries?
absolutely,
They've
percent.
got to go
Yep.
and farm and get their food, and it feels like they move probably a lot more than being in a corporate computer. I mean, a lot of them probably not in
Absolutely.
like
And
we are
they
here.
squat. They squat.
Oh
They're very
yeah,
comfortable
squatting.
squatting. You
Oh,
squat when you're cooking, you
how
squat when you're
different. Yep.
serving, you
We
squat when
squat as
you're
well.
squatting is huge. So
Yeah.
all of this actually really relaxes the structure of the soft tissue around your uterus, so your uterus can relax in its natural position so baby can get into their natural position for birth. I've got
Mm.
another funny story of when I was in the refugee camp, and it was in the middle of the night, and one of the midwives called me for an emergency because he had never seen this position before. It was a back on back position where
Wow.
where instead of the baby rotating, where the baby's chin flexes down on their chest and they just go uh, face down, and they're birthed face down before they rotate and actually finish their birth. It was sunny side up, what we call sunny side up, where the baby's face was facing up, not down. And he'd never seen that before. And that's such a common presentation in Australia.
And that was birth naturally?
Yeah, yeah, and they are in Australia. Like it's a
Yeah.
natural. It's still a natural way for. It's still a natural presentation, but sometimes they can just take a little bit longer because they just need to rotate a little bit longer before it comes
Mm,
out. Yeah, but I thought that was really funny. And yes, and as the baby was crowning, she twisted,
turn.
she
Yeah.
rotated and turned and came out.
So what about, I guess, with them? Do they use a lot of the interventions we see? Like, is there
No,
epidurals? Is there the suction?
no,
Is there any of the the forceps, or maybe forceps perhaps? But it was just hand,
no. The only
natural
thing
birthing and midwifery.
No, it's all natural. It is so natural. It is so incredibly natural.
So no C-sections, even not
There
as
were,
much.
yeah,
They're
in
starting to have some
two,
more.
oh yeah, in the major hospitals, if anywhere there's a hospital, there's normally a surgeon that can do a cesarean section. There it is for life saving measures only.
So even if the baby's breached, would they still try to deliver it
No,
naturally?
no, 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 no,
No.
no, 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 no.
And there's no ultrasounds throughout the pregnancy. You wouldn't even know if the baby's breached until you were giving birth.
You can tell by palpation
Yeah.
and just by look how it's presenting in the mother's tummy. You
Mm,
can normally tell. But I've
mm.
even had an incident. This was in Yemen. There was a breech birth, and we actually saw the bottom. We actually saw the bottom coming out, and then the next thing you know, the baby went straight back up. We lost the baby, and then did a big turn, and then next thing we saw was a head coming out.
Wow. So did it in flipped it last minute in the birth itself.
Yeah, yeah. So these are the things that I've seen where people would go, "No, you're kidding me. That would never happen." I've seen things that can happen.
Mm. Wow,
Yeah.
so interesting. What is the importance of prenatal education, I guess, in for people both there and here, but in general, like the importance of prenatal education and birth planning? Should we have prenatal
Massively,
education and
massively,
birth planning?
massively. Because
People don't.
the thing is, in a lot of countries that I've been to, I'll give you an example. In Africa, it's not just, oh, I'm scared because of the pain. It's because I'm scared because I could lose my life.
Yeah.
So that's a different level of fear. So the thing is, with people in countries with limited medical care, is that they have strong support around them. And so they get all their prenatal education from their family, from their community. Okay,
Whereas here, you
here,
don't tend to get it. You get it from
no,
a proper program or from a hospital running a program. Like I did that with my Westmead Hospital. You know, you go to an 8-week, sort of prenatal education. Oh, you can use gas and you can use epidural, and these are the different methods of intervention,
yeah,
right?
exactly. But also what happens here is that we've got a different level of fear. Our fear is embedded so far into our into our subconscious, from movies, from stories, from everything of
What's the
what's
main fear?
happening.
What do you see as a pattern of what's the underlying deepest fear?
Fear of pain.
Yeah, that's why they want epidurals. Like they think, oh my gosh, I can't give birth naturally because of pain. I'm going to opt for a cesarean, or yeah, like literally, a lot of my clients are like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. I'm scared of the pain, but it's all part of the natural process. And you think at the end of the day, it's a couple of hours, maybe a day at most. For me,
Exactly.
when I gave birth, I didn't realize the pain, but then it was the pain of not sleeping and the pain of having a newborn. Right? I said that pain for
Yeah,
24 hours. Give me that again, than a baby that doesn't sleep for 2 years, right? I was like,
exactly.
that's painful. Like sleep
Exactly.
deprivation is painful than physical pain, which will end within 24 hours at most, maybe 2 days. But
And
yeah,
the thing is, it doesn't have to be that
no,
hard.
no, it's true.
It does not have to be that hard. And one of the thing that I really want to just yell from the mountaintops is that when you have a mindset of, I can do this, and eliminate all this conditioning that has been in us from when we were born, even because we still might have the memory of our birth within us
Yes,
subconsciously.
that's right. Like how we came out into the world, right? And when mother had a difficult labor. And that's so true because we're both into sort of mindset and trauma. And if your mother had a traumatic birth and you were stuck, that's why my questionnaire, I'm like, how was your birth process, right? If you don't ask your mother, because, yep, if you had a very stressful birth process, that is ingrained in your unconscious. And so I reckon that has a lot to do with them being a mother or even in the conception process because they
Yeah.
feel, oh my gosh, I can't conceive unconsciously. They don't even know that because it was so little. They're not going to remember that. Right. But when we tap
Yeah.
in, we do muscle testing or really dig into trauma, it's there, right? So releasing the fear of pregnancy, or even if perhaps even in past traumas and past lifetimes, right? If people are, believers of that, even in that, like, clearing traumas from even past lifetimes. I'm sure many, many lifetimes ago, a lot of people didn't have the medicine we have even these days. I mean, most people died in childbirth. Was it 1 in 4, 1 in 3 would die in childbirth at some point in the past? Like mainly, sort of few hundred, like even last century.
But last century, what did people wear? Corsets.
Of course, I know, right? I was just about to say
So,
that. Yes, they're they're ruined. They're like it's not a natural structure. Most of but corsets were only worn for the rich, right? People that had money. I mean, I guess people in or was it all people? Because a lot of them weren't wearing corsets if they were farmers, and that was like in China, right? I was talking about this the other day to a client, but they did foot binding up until only 1920s because if you had money, right, you were foot binded, right, and you would walk with this petite sort of air about you. You had money because you weren't a farmer. A farmer could not foot bind, right? If you're coming from a farming family, you need your feet and to walk with balance because you need to do all the hard labor. But if you were from a rich family or you had money, you had to be foot binded. My grandmother did foot binding. And it's like, yeah,
wow.
she stopped afterwards. She was quite spoiled as a child. And she's like, I'm not foot binding. I think it just stopped around that time. But I heard from my mother that she had done foot binding for, I think it was several months, maybe a year, instead of the whole several years, actually. Like they keep their feet, I think they foot bind from the age of 8 or 9 to keep their feet in that shape from when they're like 9 years old for at least a couple of years so that feet doesn't grow. And then they're always in those small tie shoes. It usually comes from nobility or money. So I'm not sure. I have to read about these two, but the corsets I think probably would be for people that had more money because it would have to go into society and attract the men with the money or status, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. 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 So, and what I've noticed with birthing here is that women who totally accept their birth, totally accept that whatever happens, happens, and they have meditated. Meditation is key. Breath is key.
hypnobirthing, calm birthing, all of those things.
They're there for a reason. Now, the thing is with hypnobirthing and calm birthing and all of those things, what I've known in my practice is that people go tick, tick, tick. Yes, I've done my hypnobirthing course. Fantastic. But you have to embody it. And to embody it, it's daily practice. And you increase your practice and you ritualize it. You invite your support partner, whether it's your husband, your wife, your sisters, whatever, you invite them as well. And
But
so
I think also
everybody's on the same page.
just to go with the flow, like just a quick story of my birth, my first child, he was 41 and 6 days. He was literally 2 days out. And the public system had let me go all the way to then. And then I had meconium, had to be induced. And I had pictured the entire birth, oh, it's going to be water birth. It's going to be beautiful. I'd done all those things, meditation, and then it didn't turn out the way it wanted. It was like 24 hours of labor, then C-section. And I was so distraught. I was like, that wasn't what I envisioned. I envisioned like this beautiful, calm water birth. I'd done the calm birth course. I did all the courses, right? Had acupuncture, all of that. And it just didn't go the way I planned. And then the pain and all of that. And I guess hating on my body in a way, you're like, I wanted a natural birth because, natural birth, it's like that's the way. And I think from that experience, the second time around, I'm like, whatever happens, happens, right? And so now I sort of educate my clients that when you do come to that, just go with the flow. Sure, do all those things. But at the end of the day, it's all about the safety of the baby as well, right? So I want to hear sort of your take on that. So I had to learn to let it go and then not have that fear come back up for the second child. So I think we can do a lot of preparation and labor. But then on the day, right, I think just whatever happens, we have to be okay with, right? Because safety first. So love to hear sort of what you think about birth plans, because I had a supposed birth plan and then labor outcomes. And then how can we sort of go with the flow and have at least be okay with what's coming instead of all of this preparation? Because I was like, it has to go this way, no this, no that, and then I'm only just going to have a water birth, and then none of that happened.
Yeah, it's really interesting now. In my practice, women that come in with that mindset have got to do a lot of unwheeling because you are so attached to the outcome. And
Yep.
when you attach to the outcome, the universe is going to go, ha, really?
We'll see about that.
Yeah, because we are meant to go through what we go through. So preparation, absolutely, 100%. You have to know how labor works. You have to know all this
And
stuff.
most people don't, right? They don't understand what could come or how to prepare. And they think, oh, I'm just going to deal with it when it comes, or they over plan and then nothing goes according to plan, which was.
Yeah. Now, the thing is that there is a way you can actually go through labor without feeling any pain, without an epidural.
Wow. Let's hear about that.
Okay. It's about your mindset. Number one, it's about getting into this deep meditative state where you are just not with it. You are in labor.
You're in a different realm.
Yeah. You are in a different dimension. Seriously, it is amazing. It's beautiful to watch. I love watching it. Oh, I've got goosebumps now just remembering it. Number one, that is it. Number two, it's preparing your body. Okay. So we just can't sit in a chair all day, every day, and expect to have a fantastic birth. It doesn't work like that. And there's so many people that are saying, I'm pregnant, I can't exercise as much. You exercise what your body wants. You listen to your body.
Yes, true.
You stretch, you do yoga or qigong. I love doing qigong because it's not as hard as yoga and the benefit is massive.
Can you do that in the first trimester, or do you have to be a bit careful? You still do everything they want. There's no dangers, like people who've done IVF and they're pregnant. Oh, I can't move. Like they say after IVF, do I just lie down for the next 2 days?
No, you are normal.
They're supposedly pregnant, and if early on in 4 weeks, and like, what do I do now? Like you keep
You're
doing
normal. Yeah, because it's important for your brain. Because
so there's no danger in
there's dangers in getting out of bed in the morning, Ellie. Isn't there? It's you can't quantify that. You can't quantify. There's dangers in in eating a chicken. There's dangers in so many things. There's dangers
Yeah.
every time we go into our car.
So there's
And you
no
drive.
complications with whatever exercise you were doing prior to birth. Just don't pick up something new or
Yes.
go
Yes.
straight.
Don't go
I
to
had
the
a
gym if
client.
you haven't been to the gym in 10 years,
Yeah, well,
please.
I had a client that was lifting a lot of weights and she's like, can I continue lifting weights? And she'd gone through a lot of trouble to fall pregnant. I said, look, let's just take it easy for the next couple of weeks and see how you feel, right? And then, yeah, we can ease back into it if you want, but maybe not really heavy weights, but continue exercising
Mhm.
as, you know,
Yeah. And the
doing
thing
your best.
is, and this is one thing that I absolutely love, is that it is really teaching women how to listen to their bodies, because in today's world we are so busy, we live outside our bodies.
Yeah.
So this is what
A
the
lot of
meditation
disconnect.
does, the breathing does, the self-awareness does. It's not just self-awareness physically, it's also mentally, emotionally, spiritually as well. It's
Yeah.
really cool. And the other thing that is really interesting, so we're talking about stretching, so stretching your ligaments, your tendons, and your fascia. Yeah, so the fascia is something that I'm absolutely fascinated with. And I became fascinated with through my bodywork and also through Qigong. The fascia is that really thin lining, as thin as gladra, that actually coats all our internal organs and every single muscle
Yes.
fiber.
Yes.
Now, when we're living in a stress society like we are today, and when we're sitting all the time, our fascia is tight, our fascia is restricted. And our fascia, and when it's like that, our fascia looks like a bunch of spaghetti that's just been fallen on the floor. When you stretch and exercise and do things like yoga and qigong, that fascia ends up becoming crisscrossing in a beautifully ordered line. Now
And so
your
it's easier
fascia,
when you go into labor or the
and
contractions.
hey,
Yeah, right.
fancy that compared to that. So your body is
More
able
to stretch
to
it out.
expand and release when it's ordered like this. Now your fascia, it's tiny little strands of gel-based fluid, and they're learning more and more and more about fascia, which I find really incredible. And I think that if we can keep the fascia supple, pain is going to be reduced because they've associated chronic pain with tight fascia.
Right. And that's
So,
what they need to do in
so why
preconception care.
not transfer that into late in pregnancy and childbirth?
So I guess would that have to do with the role of the baby's positioning in any way in reducing these further complications and helping with
Yeah.
that labor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what it actually does, if everything, all the soft tissue and fascia is relaxed through the body, baby's able to get into the natural position. Now, the thing that I find with women that have back on back presentations late in pregnancy, they get a lot of back pain.
Yes.
They
Is
get
it
a
from
lot
some of
of
the
niggles.
epidurals and sometimes that they've had or interventions during pregnancy, during the birthing itself?
This is before and late pregnancy. This is just because baby's
Oh, I
lying back on back, just
because
and
I've heard
pressing on that
also,
backbone.
but I've also heard with epidurals, and I've seen this with they might have chronic back pain later. Could it be around having epidurals right through the spine, and then they have like this chronic ache in their back where
Yeah,
that was, and they've forgotten all about it because it was like
yeah.
20 years ago.
It's one of the things that women I don't think are fully aware of epidurals because they've just become so commonplace now that there's major intervention as soon as you put an epidural in. Sometimes they don't work. And with that back pain, yes, I've forgotten what the exact just statistics are, but it is significant, that number of women that do have back pain afterwards. It can last for years and years and years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess on that, what are some of the benefits? Like, what have you seen with the midwife supporting women in reducing these birth interventions and actually through the labor itself? Like, is there any, is there some great benefits with the midwives actually doing some of that in
Yeah.
labor support
Yeah,
itself?
totally, totally. And also antenatally as well, including women who have had IVF and assisted pregnancies. Because what midwives do is that we normalize everything. And when you normalize everything, when you normalize your pregnancy, when you actually sit down and talk holistically with someone, not just about their body and what their baby's doing, but about their life, about their social situation, about everything that encompasses health and well-being. That's what we do. That's what midwives do. And when you normalize something, the stress goes out. The stress goes out of your mind. And when you're stressed, do you contract up or do you relax when you're
And you're really
stressed?
there to advocate for the patients and their best interests, right? In a hospital setting, right?
Massive,
Especially, yeah,
massive,
especially if
massive,
it's just
massive.
just the gynecologist there or, the doctors there. You're there to advocate and what they want, what's in their best interest, at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
and
if they're holistic.
the yeah, and the best support is a midwife that you have known through your pregnancy because they know you know them, and you know that you're safe with them. And
Yeah.
just that
Alone can
increases,
really change, yeah, the outcome.
absolutely. It's just mind blowing what I've
Wow.
witnessed through my time in the birthing rooms with women. It's just beautiful.
Let's chat quickly about the postpartum healing and recovery, I guess. So, what are some of the factors most overlooked in postpartum recovery? I guess we touched on really not taking the 6 and 8 weeks to nurture and stay home and recover properly from a birth. What else have you seen as some of the sort of other factors that are potentially overlooked as you're recovering from postpartum?
Big one is breastfeeding.
Yeah.
That's the biggest one.
How long should people breastfeed for? Because I get different people like, oh, 1 year's enough, 2 years, or when the baby says, I've had enough.
Ideally, it's when the baby says, I've had enough, or when mother says, I've had enough. That's it in a nutshell. A baby can decide to wean, or a mother goes,
I might stop at like 8, 9 months if they just don't want it one day. That's enough.
yeah, yeah. And other people go on to 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or rule. But for the first, at least until they're on solids, breastfeeding or breastfeeding is best. But we're lucky as well for women who can't breastfeed that we've got an option, and a safe option as well. And that is another incredible
And there's a lot
thing
of
that we have in
guilt.
the Western world.
There's also a lot of guilt that people, you think, oh, I have to be able to breastfeed. And for whatever reason, it may not happen. And then they're going through a lot of stress and guilt because the breastfeeding is just not happening. So, yeah, there are other options. And it's just being open to whatever's going to feed your baby, keep you sane.
Yeah.
And there's one right or wrong way of doing something. If it doesn't happen for whatever reason, we can't push things. Or do we keep pushing, right? Like, some people aren't breastfeeding and they just keep pushing for weeks until
And
it
it creates
happens.
so much stress
Stress for
in
you
their
and the baby.
life. They are not coping well with a newborn baby. There's so much stress. They're missing out on that love and that beautiful time that they could have just because they feel that they need to do this. They need to do this. They need to do this. And if they want to do that, if they're so hell-bent in doing this, and it goes through and they're fine afterwards, fantastic. But if you've got a lot of angst within you and you've got a cranky baby because you're angst, baby's going to be angst, your partner's going to be angst.
Yeah.
It's something that I think women really need to take a breath and just go, there's 3 things that baby needs. 1, love.
Yes.
B, safety and hygiene. 3, to be fed. And
That's it. They don't need much at that age.
nope. That's all they need. And there's so much pressure. Now, and the thing is, in our society, breastfeeding's got this thing. It's got a thing like people don't really breastfeed in public because our families are a lot smaller now.
Yeah.
Very many people aren't even exposed to what a breastfeeding baby looks like. So when it comes with this beautiful mum with this beautiful baby going, oh my God, okay, how on earth do I do this? Women can be awkward with it. And when you've got a baby inside, women are so focused towards the birth, they can't think about breastfeeding. Yes, people, they have all the information, which is fantastic, but there's a gap in the way that you're thinking.
Yeah.
Isn't there?
Totally.
And so when you're finally there, it's like, okay, now this is it. So my best advice for when you've had your baby is just chill.
That was just what I was going to ask you. What is a great advice to new mums about postpartum? Relax
chill,
and
laugh,
yeah. And enjoy.
Laugh at all the funny things your baby is doing. Laugh the first time they pee on you if it's a boy or whatever.
Oh yes, they're going to pee on you at some point.
And don't put too much pressure on yourself. Sleep when you can sleep. There is no day, there is no night. There is just you and your baby. You sleep, you eat, you drink a lot of water. You can have these beautiful teas that help increase your breast milk.
Milk, yes.
Yeah, like milk thistle and all these wonderful galactagogues, what they're called galactagogues. And you can just be spoiled because guess what? You have just produced a human being. Hello? Is that the most incredible thing a person can do in their life?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so honour you. Honour that. Honour that. And don't put too much pressure on yourself. Drink
So,
well, eat
so
well.
good. That's it. So good. Philippa, thank you so much for sharing your personal stories about visiting all those remote places and for the work that you do. And yeah, I would love to hear about you've got an upcoming book. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Yes, I do. One of the things when I first left clinical practice is that I really want to get my message out that birth doesn't have to be scary and complications don't have to be scary and women can feel empowered. So basically, it's a book outlining lessons that I've learnt from my 20 years of midwifery in 5 challenging countries and what I believe for women to have a beautiful pregnancy where they can decrease the likelihood of developing complications, have a fantastic birth that they're absolutely proud of. And the caveat is no matter what happens, and that they can just breathe into motherhood, not only as a confident mother, but having the skills and resources to be able to carry that feeling of absolute incredible motherhood for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, amazing. So when will your book be ready?
It'll be ready this year. It's in editing at the moment.
Beautiful. We'll put a link to it and we'll update our show notes. But thank you so much, Philippa, for joining. I'm sure people got some amazing gold nuggets. And yeah, just nurture your body. Understand that pregnancy is such a beautiful time and it's such a short time of the whole process of just being a parent, right? I mean, once you become a mom, you're always a mom after that. And so enjoy that moment of pregnancy, especially those who went through a difficult pregnancy to get pregnant. Enjoy it. Some people don't have the best of pregnancies, but even then it's short-lived, and enjoy the birth, enjoy the newborns because they're only little for so long,
Yeah.
grow up so quickly. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Love to have Philippa back for another podcast. Yep, she's got so much to share with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ellie. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for tuning in to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast. If you found today's episode inspiring or informative, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It'll help us reach more women like you on their journey to vibrant health and balance. For more tips, resources, or to work with me directly, visit my websites. And remember, your health is your superpower. Keep nurturing it, and I'll see you in the next episode.